with ultrasounds.
War in the 21st century. Some foresee an escalation in super weapons, powerful lasers beamed from satellites, and guns that hurl cosmic forces instead of bullets. Others prepare for the day when super hackers will try to bring nations to their knees with computer viruses. And a chilling new world order where the masters of mind control will become masters of the world. (1939), World War II. Germany launches an assault on France. France, having used the First World War as a model for the Second, found its trench warfare mentality and supposedly impermeable Maginot Line overrun by the German Blitzkrieg in just a day. It was a lesson the Allies learned quickly, and the world would not forget. In this century, as never before, the next war would always be a moving target. In many ways, we've just used new technology to hone very old tactics, like delivering firepower to enemy targets. While eminently more sophisticated than lighted arrows or catapult payloads, the dumb bombs of World War II often missed their targets by hundreds of meters, and in the process killed thousands of civilians. The highly touted smart bombs on display in the Gulf proved much more accurate, but still went astray in alarming numbers. Today's onboard lasers can guide a bomb to its target, homing in on the light reflected back from the target.
Hit that one.
Accurate to within a meter or two when all goes according to plan.
Launch.
In the future, smart missiles may well become brilliant missiles, hovering over enemy territory and taking their time to select the best targets. But missiles, no matter how smart, have ancient roots. Explosives have been around for centuries. On war's horizon lurk far more futuristic and destructive technologies. Lasers will almost certainly make a deadly appearance in a war in 2020. These highly concentrated beams of light can do much more than guide missiles. They can be powerfully destructive in themselves. Developed at the United States Air Force's Phillips Laboratory in Albuquerque, New Mexico, this laser delivers 15,000 watts of power, 1.5 million times the power of the laser in your CD player. It converts electrical energy into a very narrow and intense beam of light. The more coherent or uniform the light, the more impact it has.
ABL AWACS, radar track 37 is a suspected cruise missile. Estimate it will be in your defended zone within 2 minutes.
In the war of the future, laser guns could attack from land, sea or air.
Launches are hostile, repeat. All launches are hostile. Can you engage? AWACS, ABL copies.
The ABL, or airborne laser, designed to operate from a wide-bodied jet, generates enough energy to knock out air-to-air missiles like Sidewinders.
ABL, copy. Cruise missile track 37 destroyed.
A more potent weapon could harness the cosmic forces of plasma, an extremely hot, volatile substance that forms the atmosphere of stars. Phillips Laboratory has designed an earthbound machine that generates plasma. For 10 1/millionths of a second, its energy output equals that of the entire United States. The sunlight temperatures and electronically charged nature of plasma give it a potentially devastating destructive capability. Directed into a deadly beam, a plasma projectile could travel at tremendous velocities, up to the speed of light. You could obliterate enemy targets before they even knew they were under attack. Plasma could become the most fearsome weapon of all time. In In this world of shifting superpowers and changing sensibilities, the mighty armies of the world find themselves increasingly caught up in police actions rather than all-out war. It looks as though the soldier of the future will have more to fear from a hawk-eyed sniper than from any high-tech superweapon. A bullet speeds towards its target at over 3.2 kilometers an hour. Yet this system takes 4 scans and recreates its path on the screen in less than a second. Using an infrared sensor, Lifeguard traces a sniper's bullet back to its source before the bullet even hits its target. A separate colored icon records the path of each bullet. Once the Lifeguard system locates a sniper's firing position, another infrared bloodhound can be set loose on its trail.
I've got a visual on 2 aggressors, perimeter area 200 meters out.
BOSS is the acronym for the Battlefield Optical Surveillance System, a mobile counter-sniper platform. BOSS can covertly detect the enemy using a forward-looking infrared camera, or FLIR. It picks up a person's body heat or the heat generated by equipment. BOSS can also send out its own invisible floodlight of infrared waves, lighting up targets without giving them the faintest hint that they're being watched. The light reflects off rifle sights, binoculars, even a person's retina. With the target pinpointed, BOSS can make its presence known with a brilliant green laser. And human stealth proves no match for technological stealth, beating the elusive sniper at his own game. In the war of the future, soldiers may come equipped with their own lasers to dazzle rather than destroy. In Somalia in 1994, US Marines were under instructions not to cause casualties. They found that if they lit up one of the aggressors with the saber laser, he froze. The rest of the mob was so frightened, they ran for cover. The canister containing the laser and the battery fits into the grenade launcher of the M16 rifle. A control box snaps onto its underside, and in seconds it's ready to fire. The saber laser is one of a new family of less-than-lethal weapons emerging from the armories of the world's greatest fighting forces. These are Stinger grenades. When they explode, 24 tiny rubber balls fire out to batter and bruise opponents into submission. In the back alleys of Combat Town, Camp Pendleton, San Diego, the role of the US Marines is changing as fast as their weapons. From deadly stormtroops to less than lethal peacekeepers. Pepper spray is another tactic to subdue angry crowds. It has an immediate and incapacitating effect even on the toughest Marines. But sticky stuff like this really stops someone in their tracks. Guns that spray glue or dense adhesive foam rapidly immobilize anything that moves. The foam dries in seconds but takes hours to remove. These new weapons are part of a non-lethal program funded by the Pentagon to the tune of $41 million a year. The object is to take control without taking lives. On the battlefield of the future, weapons like these will have earned their place, with the proviso that traditional weapons are on hand to return lethal fire if soldiers' lives are at stake. More than any previous conflict, the Allied victory in the Gulf showcased the deadly efficiency of high-tech weapons. But in the end, it wasn't air superiority or even ground power alone that won the war. It was also information. The coalition used its immense superiority in communications technology to crushing effect. The Allied forces monitored the conflict from every possible angle, and they crippled the Iraqis when they took out their communication system. In future wars, communication systems will move higher and higher in the target priority. But instead of smart bombs and missiles, the attackers will launch devastating attacks on command and control systems from the inside. The potential result, wars won cleanly, remotely, and without loss of life.
18 degrees, overlay looks good.
This is the face of traditional warfare. Highly disciplined manpower, armed with mechanical weapons, the product of industrialized society. It is second-wave warfare. According to futurist Alvin Toffler, it swept aside the first wave, agrarian culture and primitive weapons.
The way a people fight is closely related to the way they make wealth. And when you had the industrialization of the economy, when we went from peasant labor to mass production, you also got mass destruction. What is happening now is the introduction of third wave warfare, in which knowledge, information superiority is the key to victory.
Third wave warfare is the new catchphrase of modern military philosophy taught at the U.S. National Defense University. Fort Leslie J. McNair is the oldest continuously manned defense post in the United States. Here, the brightest and the best learn the tactics for future war. This is a different breed of soldier, the information warrior. They're planning strategy and dealing with philosophical issues raised by a dimension of warfare never encountered before: cyberspace.
The possibility is there for a country to reach into another country and plant a logic bomb in the, let's call it the military command control system of country B. Is that a hostile act? That one country might react with deadly force against the first one.
These info war officers are grappling with the intangible battle space of the future.
Cyberspace is not the United States, it's not some other country. It transcends at the same time that it integrates all of these countries.
A conflict where the battle lines are no longer clearly defined can result in enormous headaches for future war strategists. Imagine this: a subversive individual or group inserts a strain of destructive software into a network switching center. The result? Progressive failure of the communication system. No calls, no faxes, no email. Computer logic bombs, bits of rogue software planted in electronic control systems, begin to chew up data. Transport networks gridlock. Within hours, the financial institutions collapse. Their funds zeroed out by a stroke of the keyboard. 24 hours later, mass panic takes over. An information drought feeds wild and fearful rumors. There's no access to cash and no escape. Such a surprise attack would be the electronic equivalent of Pearl Harbor. It may sound far-fetched, but it is all quite possible. Take the internet. 40 million users can access it through any phone line in the world. 95% of all military communications go the same way. If civilian electronic communication systems are vulnerable, they raise the possibility of even more frightening scenarios: military electronic infiltration. The US government admits to more than 300 attacks on its computer systems every month. The real figure may be more like 20,000. Here, in secret bunkers of the Pentagon, they're facing up to a new peril. Behind this door, one of America's most sensitive and secure defense response teams keeps watch for cyber terrorists. On the principle that it takes a thief to catch a thief, These operatives have learnt the tricks of the hacker trade. Their mission, to hunt down and destroy viruses and data bugs that threaten to cripple the government systems of the world's most powerful nation. This is the Pentagon's Automated System Security Incident Support Team. And here, the battle has already begun. In their first 18 months of operation, the team barely had time to draw breath. They responded to more than 28,000 calls for assistance from US military systems around the globe. The intrusion detection system looks for sweeps when someone is trying to probe several systems. The clues are several login attempts from the same source. They can capture the exact keyboard strokes of the violation. That tells them how the hacker penetrated the system and what data the electronic interloper saw. Based on this information, the common operational picture simulates the tracks of the attacker's activities until it locates the source to within a few blocks. Soon, they'll be able to locate the exact phone socket. While cyber wars take over from the bludgeoning battlegrounds of traditional warfare, psychological warriors are bringing cutting-edge technology to a more insidious weapon: propaganda.
We're moving toward third wave modes of warfare, which apply information, knowledge, intelligence, strategy, deception, media, the use of the media for managing the perception, the adversary's perception of the battle.
Your only safety is across the sun.